homework is going to go over how you start creating your actual magazine pages. Now, the first thing I want to remind you is any articles or any assignments you are turning in for me for grading need to be shared with me as a separate document from your magazine, and then copy and paste them into your magazine layout. You're going to use basic design features for Word. I want everybody who is in my class to create it from a blank document. You're going to be looking mainly at Insert, Page Layout, and Home. Now, the first thing I would go into is margins and set them for narrow, because you're not going to want a ton of white space all around there. Remember your breaks and the difference. You have a page break that starts it on a new page, column break, and text wrapping. You also have section break. Continuous means that it just changes the format of it. So you get some ideas here. You're going to use columns. Next, you might want to pick out an actual theme to use. You don't have to. You can create your own theme, but this will give you colors and already have some set formats in it so that you can use those. Colors can be changed. Fonts can be changed. Okay? Remember those features. I do not want to see full page colors. You can use page borders if you choose. You shouldn't need a watermark. So let's look at the first thing we're going to need to do. And there are different ways to do this. You may want to insert a text box or a shape. You can go in here, click text box, draw it out. Remember, you have wrapping tools. You're going to want it maybe, for this one, I'm going to want it to appear above or below the text. I don't want to actually have it running into text because I'm going to use this as a heading. Once I get this, notice I have my format features. I'm going to pick a box I like. I also want to go into, I want this to be a heading. Right click here and modify it so all your headings are the same, or you can do them manually. There's a reason to have the headings. Now I have the non-print characters on. That's just to help me to see where things are. So it makes it easier for me to make sure I'm choosing characters below or above where I want them to go. You could do something straight like this. I think this looks a little bland. So I'm going to change it a little by highlighting it and going into page layout. Now the easiest thing to do would be to choose columns. But I need to put a picture in there. This is the reason I choose columns and not text boxes, because it's easier to insert the pictures. Remember, you can resize. You can also change the text wrapping, and you can move them. You can even put them in between the columns. You still have the background removal tool here. I don't want it square, I want it tight. Notice how if I keep it square, it gives me the square of the original picture. If I go tight, it wraps around his image because we've cut out all that background. That looks pretty good. Now, because I had highlighted the text, if I click down here, notice how it's all one again. Go to heading. Let's go to heading. Center it. And now we're going to do our career article. Now, it doesn't look too good on here where it's on separate pages right now. We'll fix that. Remember, for your career article, you need to do a drop cap. That's under insert. See the drop cap? Now, that's fine, but again, remember, you can adjust the font on this if you want to get a fancier font, and then adjust it so you can see everything. Remember, this becomes a text box, so you may have to move it around, where you may want to make this look a little fancier. So you may want to highlight everything and do a border around it. Box it, maybe give it a different color that you like. And notice how this is paragraph. Now if I do that, it does a border around the whole thing. Doesn't look right if it's on 2 pages, so you can put it on 1 page. Once you've done that, you can click in your article, go into insert and do your drop cap. Just be careful, because once it becomes an image, it becomes harder for it to actually fit in there right. So you may have to play around with it. The same with pictures if you decide to box. If you're trying to insert a picture in it, it's going to mess up the box a little bit. That isn't too bad. But if we go like this, notice how it starts leaving blank spots. So you might want to do something like that just to make it appear like it fits in. Because if I put this in like this, it's going to leave a few blank lines where my paragraphs end. Now the reason I'm telling you to do headings is because the next thing I want to show you. So you could do it all like this, you could do it somewhere else. For the final thing I want to show you, I want you to notice that I've put together a mock kind of magazine layout. That I use these styles on the heading one. And I've made about 6 pages by cutting and pasting various text in to make it look like a magazine might look. I've got a review in here that I did the little title sideways. So once your magazine is done, or actually you could do this before, you pick a spot where you want to put your table of contents. Now you're going to click the reference tab. Once you click the reference tab, you will see a table of contents. Go ahead and click that, and you can call it contents, table of contents. So whichever you want, just pick one of these choices. So we're going to go with the first one. Notice how it put the contents in there, and then it put everything I put in here. And it's actually put the page numbers. I put it in, and I could do this. Now, the really neat thing about this is, let's say we decided we wanted to put the review up here instead of the career article here. Now I put my review up here. My career article is now down here. It looks a little bit better, because now instead of going across 3 pages, it goes across 2. Well, so I moved my review. But if you look, it says my review is on page 6. Here's the neat thing you can do. Let's click in the table of contents. If you click in here, you notice how it says update table. You can click that, update table, and now look what it's done. It's moved my review to where it is in the magazine, and it's put the other pages and updated the pages. So once you put the table of contents, if you're using the different headings, right here, if you're using headings, it will create it. If you use the reference content, you can move your things around and then tell it to update, and it updates. Just make sure you click entire table, and then it'll fix it so your table of contents can be updated. Thank you.